How's it going? My name is Adrian Reddix, and today I want to talk to you about some features that you may not know of on your iPhone. This is the top 5 of my favorite accessibility features on the iPhone. Next week we'll do the Android side. And I say my favorite features, I don't have a need for any of these features, but for people who have difficulties, who have physical impairments or disabilities, these things help them interact with technology. One thing I didn't used to think about was ableism, not designing a world for people who have disabilities. And I think as tech goes and progresses, I think when we design things for people to use, we need to have everybody in mind. But by me not considering everybody, I didn't really think about disability issues until I saw maybe 10 years ago, I saw somebody build a gamepad for somebody who didn't have the dexterity in their fingers to use a handheld gamepad. And the way they modified it, I thought it was one of the coolest things ever. And that got me interested in technology for people with disabilities. So the first feature is a feature called Screen Curtain. And what Screen Curtain does is it takes your iPhone and turns it off, but it's still on, so that people with visual impairments can have the privacy that you can share by, a lot of them won't know that somebody's looking over their shoulder at their banking information or a personal text or a something that they don't want a lot of people to know about. They should have the same privacy that anybody else can have. To turn this feature on, you go to Settings, you scroll down to Accessibility, and Voiceover has to be on or it won't work. So you turn Voiceover on.
Voiceover on.
Voiceover is on. And so you take your 3 fingers and here and triple tap the screen. If you can hear,
Calculator. Voice memos. Settings. 2 new item. Voice memos. iTunes Store. Wallet.
so everything is still on,
Use 3D touch to show home screen actions.
but
iTunes.
you can't see it. So if I'm a visually impaired person, I'm trying to use my phone, and somebody's trying to look at some personal information, I'm protected. And also, if you have an older iPhone, which this is the 6S, or earbuds, makes this even more attractive option for people with visual impairments, because you can go throughout your whole day and use your phone. And since the screen is the biggest drain of your battery, it saves on your battery also. So Screen Curtain is a great feature to have. And as you can see,
Screen curtain off.
it's right here.
Calendar.
So Screen Curtain. The next one is the mode we just got into, and it's called Voiceover. Voiceover helps, again, visually impaired people to know what's on the screen. So I can click here. I know it's a calculator. So,
Use 3D touch to show home screen actions.
okay. So the calculator, let's see if we can go there. So you hit it to highlight it, and you double click it to actually do it. So you can go through,
5.
so 5.
Multiply. Result. 6. 5. Equals. Resolve. 25.
It's awesome. It lets the person who has the visual impairment move through the phone. You have to use different gestures. You can't do just the one finger to move. You have to use the 3 fingers to move, right? You can turn the voice off by just doing a double tap, and you can still navigate through here, right? You can even use photo, pretty face right here, taking a picture. So you can still use all the features of the phone, even though you can't see it as well. The third feature is a feature that you may not know that your iPhone has, but your iPhone has. Yes, I understand. Your iPhone has the availability to use Braille. Braille is the next feature I want to talk about, which that sounds weird. So I was first, we had a visually impaired classmate in, I want to say the second grade, and she had one of those old school 6-key typewriters. They were loud, like chop 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 chop. With the iPhone, it's all on screen. You know, you have your 6 keys, and I'm not gonna embarrass myself and pretend like I know Braille. I don't, but you can 6-key it. I put a video of Dr. Robinson going through that and link the video below on how to use the Braille on your iPhone. I also used to work for a radio station for about 6 months, and the owner was blind. I was first really introduced to Braille. So he had this device that had Braille on it, and he got this brand new one. He wanted me to set it up for him. It was the HumanWare Braille Touch, and it was a Braille device that had a 6-key on it. Also, it was a Android tablet under the 6-key. I'll put a video up of Annie B. She's blind and she's a really good singer, so check some of that out also. But she goes through and tells you about it. I thought it was one of the coolest things ever. On the loading screen, you know how it goes, the dots or whatever? On the actual tablet, the cells on the dots, they would raise up in the circle pattern. So you'll see the raised dots going round and round and round. You can feel it, the loading screen. I thought it was one of the best things ever. But it takes Braille, and you can go to notes and start typing, and it gives people with visual impairments a way to interact with their device that's familiar with them. They're not familiar with thumbs, they don't know, but they do know the 6-key method. So I think Braille is one of those features that's really, really cool about the iOS platform. The next feature is going to be Assistive Touch. And if you're familiar with Assistive Touch, you've used the iPhone before. It's one of those features, one of those accessibility features that iPhone users of at least 6-7 generations before are familiar with, because back when iPhones had home buttons, one of the weakest parts of the iPhone was that flex cable that connected the home button to the motherboard. Anytime you could be talking on the phone or working out, sweat will get in and destroy or make that home button not work. So you'd have to go to the accessibility features to even function with the phone, because on that, all right, so you go to again, settings, accessibility, and you go to Assistive Touch, and the home button is what people use mainly for the Assistive Touch. The people that didn't have the physical impairments that some people have, the dexterity some people lack in their fingers. But this helps people not, if you can't swipe or you can't do a volume. So if you can just touch, I think Assistive Touch helps people who have disabilities in their hands to interact with the device. I think it's cool. It can help people who don't have disabilities be able to interact with their phone when their phone stops functioning, saving them money, skipping the repair shop and things like that. Because you got to think some of these features, some people can't do this or that, or it's not, or even hold the power button on to turn the phone on or off. So, I mean, these things are things that I think the technology community, I think some of them are, that we need to consider when designing and developing software and tech and hardware. And the fifth feature that I think is a great accessibility for a lot of people with physical impairments, it's going to be good old Siri. And if you use Siri, you know why. You can do anything you want, almost anything you want with Siri. You can tell it to, hey Siri, send a text to Adrian.
What do you want to say?
You're cool.
Your message to Adrian Reddix says you're cool. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, it's sent.
You can do things like ask for directions, ask her to look up things like lemon pie recipes or what have you. But it takes actions that you may not be able to perform, and you can use your voice to make sure that you can use your iPhone just like everybody else who doesn't have a disability can use. When Siri first came out, it was a pioneer in this space. I mean, it did things that none of the other voice assistants could do. It was way ahead of everybody else. And to me, it seems like they kind of stayed at that level while everybody else, especially Google, OK Google, Google Assistant, went way above them. It looks like hopefully in these later or the more up-to-date versions that they can get to a level where they're competing with some of the top voice assistants. But as far as usability and basic function and everyday use, Siri is one of those great tools that you can use. Bonus. Yeah, the bonus is coming. And the bonus isn't a software feature. It's going to be a piece of hardware or a piece of technology that has to do with hardware. And that's wireless charging. iPhone, I think when they start putting the glass back on, because you can't wirelessly charge through aluminum, that is one of the great features of the new iPhone. Some people can't do compound movements, like taking a charger, and I know the older 4s and had the charger that only went one way, kind of like the upper end Androids used to be with micro B. And now you can put it in either way, but still some people can't do this movement or, have this or that. So having a wirelessly charge where you can just pop it down, it'll charge, you can pop it off, is one of those features that not only makes things easier, but also makes things less complicated for people who don't have the ability to plug a phone in. Hey guys, that's it. If you like this video, please let me know. Leave me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, leave me a thumbs down. Tell me why you didn't like the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.